car sales have begun to show a sign of recovery after a significant drop in the previous few months. Producers hope the upcoming International Car Show later next month will further boost the car sales in the domestic market.
The latest sales data issued by the Association of the Indonesian Automotive Industry, or GAIKINDO, showed a sign of recovery in both wholesale and retail sales in the domestic market in May 2005. The wholesales rose 18.4% to 60,613 units in May, from 51,205 units in April, while the retail sales, or the sales from dealers to consumers, increased slightly by 7.6% to 61,339 units, and from 57,030 units in the same period. However, the annual sales during May dropped 15% from 71,263 units in May 2024. The sales during January to May period also continued to show a downward trend. During the 5 months, the wholesales fell 15.5% to 316,981 units, while retail sales dropped by 9.2% to 328,852 units year-on-year. Meanwhile, the chairman of GAIKINDO, Jongki Sugiarto, has acknowledged that the car sales remain weak during the past 5 months due to the decline in people purchasing power, as reflected in the decline in the economic growth in the first quarter of this year. Based on data from the Central Statistics Agency, or BPS, the Indonesian economic growth slowed to 4.87% in the first quarter this year, from 5.11% recorded in the same period the previous year. However, GAIKINDO remains optimistic that this year's sales target of 900,000 units could be still achieved despite the weak sales. The local car retailers hope that the GAIKINDO Indonesia International Auto Show, or GIAS 2025, which will be held in Indonesia Convention Exhibition, or ISBX City, Banten on July 24th to August 3rd, will help boost sales. Japanese manufacturers still dominated the new car sales during May 2025, as indicated by the wholesale data issued by GAIKINDO. Toyota Kijang Innova became the best-selling car in the country, followed by Toyota Avanza in second place and Daihatsu Grand Max pickup in the fourth place. Meanwhile, passenger cars Daihatsu Sigra and Toyota Calya trailed in fifth and the sixth position, followed by Toyota Rush, Suzuki Carry, Mitsubishi Xpander, Daihatsu Terios, and Daihatsu Grand Max in the 6th to 10th positions. In the electric vehicle segment, GAIKINDO's data indicated that the monthly wholesales of the battery electric vehicles, or BEV cars, fell 13.60% to 6,391 units in May from 7,400 units in April, while the quarterly sales in January to March, the wholesales dropped 5.5% year-on-year to 316,981 units from 335,405 units in the same period 2024. The retail sales, or sales from dealers to consumers during the same period, fell 9.2% to 328,852 units from 362,163 units. During May, the BYD Celeon 7 was ranked the best-selling electric cars in the country, followed by BYD M6 in the second, the Denza D9 in third place, and the Chery J6 in the fourth place, while Wuling Air EV, Wuling Cloud EV, Geely EX5, Hyundai Ioniq, Wuling Bingo F, and BYD Seal were ranked in the 5th to 10th positions.
Car sales showed a sign of recovery in May following a sharp decline in previous 4 months. However, the people's weak purchasing power will likely cast a shadow on sales in the coming months. Today, we will have Kukuh Kumara, Secretary General of the Association of the Indonesian Automotives, or GAIKINDO. Pak Kukuh will talk about the country's sluggish car market. Pak Kukuh, thank you for being with us today.
Yes, thank you.
So after a significant decline since early 2023, car sales in Indonesia have begun to show a sign of recovery, especially in the surge sales in May. What are the driving factors of this sales increase?
Okay, thank you. I think the driving force for slight increase in May is because of the working days. As you know, in starting from January this year until April, a lot of holiday. That's
yes,
affecting
that's
the sales of the vehicles. Besides, there are a number of issues. Early in January, we have a lot of issue on the option tax, which is making people tend to hold buying a car. And then we have a holiday, Lebaran, which is cutting all the working days. And thank you that in May we have relatively higher working days. So the sales is a little bit recovery, but we need to be careful on that one. Too early to be
too excited.
Too excited, yeah. It's a long way to go because you mentioned earlier about the buying power of the middle class is affecting the sales as well.
Okay, so that means this increase in May is not too solid. So
Yes.
Do you think the upward trend will continue, or is going to be quickly changed regarding the global situation, especially the war in the Middle East?
Right, that's also put into our equation when we look at the projection for this year, but we still maintain our optimism that we may be able to reach about 900,000 unit sales, domestic sales, in the coming month and so far until the end of this year. Because next month we will have auto show, Kia's auto show, and then following that one we also have a serial of auto show in a different part of the country, in Surabaya, in Semarang, Bandung, and Makassar. So we have to keep that optimism.
Okay, but just like you said, the January to May period are the slow car sales in Indonesia this year. But still, this sales is actually quite below compared to the same period in last year. So, do you think the government needs to provide incentives to increase sales and protect the auto industry in Indonesia?
Yes, correct. We're looking for those kind of incentive, because we expect that we do not want to expect that there are continuous slowing down on the sales, but this time is a bit beyond what the industry can handle, because it's not only Indonesia, our neighbor also experience the same, like Thailand, which is the #1 producer car, four-wheelers, in the ASEAN country, even though that Indonesia is the largest market in ASEAN. But both countries experience slowing down. We are down by 15% compared to 24 to 23, while Thailand is even deeper, 25%. But the other countries like Malaysia are experiencing a little bit increase and even higher than Thailand. Position #2, Indonesia #1, #2 is Malaysia, and Thailand used to be a #2, now is #3. But Vietnam also increased by 22%, and then Philippines by 8%. So there is a mixed signal on that one.
Okay, so but what kind of incentive that you think is the best strategy to be put forward by the government to support the car sales or the car industry in Indonesia?
Yeah, we look at the short term and long term, because automotive industry is a long term commitment. The short term that we have to immediately taking action is try to what we have done during the COVID pandemic, by providing incentive to the vehicles with local content, higher local content, and then also providing the incentive, then immediately can improve the sales. And 70% of the people who buy car, as on the data mentioned about 10 best-selling car, are the car with the price less than 300 million. That's the one need to be provided incentive. And we also have a discussion because most of the car right now are less than 300 million, should not be considered as a luxury car, should not consider as a luxury item. Therefore, the tax should be taken out as the PPNBM, which is a luxury car tax, should be taken out.
Okay, so hopefully this incentive will be put forward by the government
Yes.
soon. Okay, so so car sales have actually started to decline since 3 years ago, based on our data. What is the impact of the weak sales on the country's automotive industry so far?
Yeah, it's not only the last 3 years. Basically, we are observing that the last 10 years or even more than 10 years, we have experienced what we call 1 million trap, because we are not be able to go beyond 1 million for production as well as domestic sales, even though that the potential should be higher than that. Our study showed that the potential of vehicle sales, four-wheelers and above, should be about 2 million and above. But that's the problem. We do the study with the research institute and then found out that the price of the vehicles increased by 7.5% every year, while the income of middle class is only increased by 3%. So there is a gap over time that need to be taken taken care of it.
All right, so that's why the incentive is really needed at this
Yes,
time.
yes.
Okay. How about the the labor market itself? Because lately we hear a lot of layoff done by other factories. How about in the car industry?
Yes, thanks that within our member of GAIKINDO have not been experienced this one, but our supplier already experienced this kind of thing.
Supplier means it's not in Indonesia. It's
in
like
Indonesia,
In Indonesia, it's
Indonesian
okay.
supplier, which basically provide the component for our industry. They have this problem. Some are already laid off about 100 labor and so on. We do not want this thing continue to happen. So that's why the initiative or incentive need to be taken as soon as possible, so we can prevent this thing to happen.
Okay. How about the electric car market? Okay, because we know that lately the government is campaigning to buy more electric cars in order to reduce the emissions in Indonesia. Do you think the market is still growing?
Yes, the market share is increased. As a matter of fact, battery electric vehicles lately until May already about almost 10% of the total market share. But our data sales show that in the last couple months is showing a decline.
Oh,
So
it's declining?
Yes, declining.
Okay.
It's not consistent. The higher one is about 8,000 a month. Now it's only about 6,000 a month. But the one with the consistent sales is the hybrid. So basically, the objective to reach net zero emission by 2060 basically can be achieved not only by electric vehicles but the others like the hybrid and also the flexi engine, which is using the ethanol gasoline as well as the diesel fuel.
Okay. At the moment, Chinese brands continue to dominate the electric car market in Indonesia. In your opinion, is there still any opportunities for other brands to enter Indonesian markets, especially in the electric
Yes,
car?
we're opening for all brands to come to Indonesia as long as they are building the vehicles in Indonesia, manufacture the vehicles in Indonesia using as much as possible local component. Why not? So we are open to everybody who are coming to Indonesia, because I think Indonesia is one of the largest market. As I mentioned earlier that we are trapped in 1 million, but in reality, based on our study, people with reduced income level no option to buy a used car, and our study found that the used car market are already reaching about 2 million, and this is a big concern for us because there is no industry on that one, and we are competing with something that is not good for the industry.
It's not good for the industry. Yes. Okay, so but in your opinion, do you think the incentive that have been taken by the government to support the electric car markets in Indonesia is enough?
It's more than enough, I think, because it's
enough.
unfair for the existing industry, because they have been investing in Indonesia for quite some time, and it takes a lot of investment. And then all of a sudden, the electric vehicle get a lot of incentive. They don't have to pay the PPNBM, the luxury tax, and then also they have PPN. The tax is only 2% compared to conventional vehicle, which is already 12%. So a lot of issues need to be restructured on the tax side.
Okay, maybe the incentive needs to be equally separate between the electric car and the regular car market. Okay, so we've talked about the domestic situation. How about the export sides of the car industry in Indonesia? Do you think we still have chance to do that?
Oh, sure. We have a lot
because
of...
you said just like Thailand now is,
Yeah.
reducing its capacity because of the situation in the country. So do you think we have a chance to
Yes, we have to take this opportunity, because we have been visit a number of countries, and then we encourage like China. If you want to invest in Indonesia, Indonesia is the second largest right-hand drive market of auto vehicles. And then if you build or use Indonesia as a piece production, we can export it to Australia. Australia market is 1.2, 1.3 million car right-hand drive. And then it can be exported from Indonesia if they decided to do so. So it's a big chance. And in fact, we already exported to 93 countries. And the amount is about 400 to 500,000 a year.
Okay. So let's hope, keeping our fingers crossed for the car industry in Indonesia, and also its opportunity to export in other countries. Thank you very much, Pak Kukuh, for sharing that with us on Economic Outlook.
Thank you.
Okay.